and welcome to the Enchantress Society with Tia Johnson, a place where you get to be you, where you get to unlock your magic in a sacred and judgment-free zone. The Enchantress Society is your witchy sisterhood of enchanting women who guides and supports you along your spiritual journey from the mundane to the magical. I invite you to sit for a spell as I interview guests and spill the spiritual tea on how we can create the magical life we deserve. Welcome back, Enchantress. So we are at the Brightest Witch in this 4-part series. I'm just going to do a quick who's it for in case you skipped the newest witch because you feel like you are the Brightest Witch. So this is, again, I just get so excited. I have to catch myself. Like, calm down. The Enchantress Coven is for women who feel different. They are misunderstood. You're at a crossroads in your life. You've been through it and it's ready. And you are just ready to unlock your magic, to learn it, to own it, to wield it like none other. All right. You're tired of feeling stuck. You feel like there must be more. You are experiencing woo things. Okay. You're picking up on a lot of things. You're longing to be able to show up in the world as your true self. You are tired of guessing yourself. Trust is a huge concern for you. And you know what? You're just basically tired of being taken advantage of, right? This is your time to bask in the moonlight. So that's really it in a nutshell, right? It's a time for change and transformations. Okay. So I'm going to dive into the Brightest Witch is why, the benefits, why I created the Brightest Witch, and I have an oracle reading for you, and more cards were pulled than the new witch. So we're going to really dive into this. So the why. The Brightest Witch, you have a lot of passion, okay? And I love that passion. That thirst for knowledge almost cannot be quenched at this point. But you have enough energy, more than enough energy, where you can take on a lot of studies, a lot of actionable items like doing a spell work, doing rituals, reading, research. So, angel numbers, dream interpretations, tarot cards. This is not your first time around the block. Like, you get it. You're looking to take it a step further. Okay. You pick up on the slightest change of energy. It's like, even if this was on the physical, or if this was in relation to the physical, you would be the person who picks up on micro expressions. Okay. So it's almost like you are so observant that people want to come to you to ask you questions and things like that. And again, it's resulting in you feeling like people are low key trying to take advantage of that because you are resourceful. And you know what? This is also a time where you may be thinking of writing a blog. There's some artistic aspect to you that needs to come out. And again, that's where that passion is that flame, that fire inside you. But if you don't take care of yourself, you can be easily burned out. That's a little caveat there. You have more than enough energy to spare. But when you give your energy to things that you don't really want to give it to, like people taking advantage of you, but you're trying to be there for them, then that's where you start to feel burnt out because the energy is not being replenished. They're taking, as opposed to you doing something that is nurturing to your soul. So yes, you are using energy, but you're getting even more back. Okay, so that's really the Brightest Witch is why. That thirst for knowledge, that want to take on a more leadership position, whether it's in your life, in your career. There's just something about you that passion has to have a channel to go to. Okay. And that's where the Enchantress comes in. So the benefits is that there are a lot of resources for the Brightest Witch to go down that rabbit hole. So there could be one thing where you look at, a material and that topic is your topic for a while. Then you come back to the library and you click on something else, another resource there, and then you go and look into that till you find what is your groove. And that's one of the greatest benefits for the Brightest Witches, to have those options, that to have those resources available for when you're ready, right? So it's there for you, but it's not overwhelming you, because that's the knowledge that you want. All right, to expand your knowledge. This is also beneficial for you, because this is where you're going to learn more about Reiki and crystals, rituals, tarot, like just various forms of magic that is going to light you up. Like this is your thing, right? Because you worked the confidence, you worked on the boundaries, you are getting more familiar with your power. So now it's like, okay, what's the next step? It's like when you take a language in school, you have French 1, French 2, French 3, French 4. Where you're at French 2, you're familiar. So what's next? Well, what's next would be to go to a French restaurant and practice, right? And I'm saying that because that's what happened in my high school when when I took French classes. We would have homework to go interact. There's a French quarters in Philadelphia. So we would be given homework to practice, speaking French, rent videos in French, subtitles. All right. So like, what's the next step? Be proactive, get out there. In this case, it's to click and read, click and watch, take notes. Okay, I'm going to read that. I'm going to do this. That's your transformation. That next level knowledge that would give you a better direction to help you figure out, what do I want to do with this? I got all this knowledge, but what am I doing with this? Oh, you know what? Maybe I start a podcast. Maybe I write a blog. Maybe I write a book. That's that passion that I'm talking about. It has to go somewhere. And when you learn these materials, that's where the benefit comes from. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna really digest this material. And maybe I do a blog post series with my spin on it, my take on it. Maybe I'll go visit some witchy spots and talk about how you can do this spell here, here, and here, right? So that's what I'm saying. You are also a resource, right? Which but this is a time to channel it a little bit better so you will get, again, replenished. And then this is also going to help you develop your leadership skills with your gifts, to help you say no, because you want to help. The Brightest Witch wants to be that go-to woman, right? But how do you say no to people who really don't want to take your advice? They just want to use you as an emotional punching bag, or they want you to tell them everything and they don't want to do any of the work themselves. Well, this is where your leadership skills with your gifts come in. That's the transformational process that will happen, that you're going to learn ways, strategies to help you with, okay, I'm not going to work with this person. Here's what I'm going to tell them. Or I can work with this person. They just need some coaching and boundaries. Okay, this is where that comes in. My why for creating the Brightest Witch, and again, this is something that I meditated on for months. If someone asked me, how are you able to pick this witch instead of that? So every witch has a nickname too. The Brightest Witch nickname is Mildred Hubble. And the reason why I came with these nicknames is to help with the visuals, to give people understanding, well, what is a new witch? And again, new witches could have been so many things, right? But I really like Mildred Hubble. She is a character in the show called The Worst Witch, which originally aired in the UK, and now there's the US version on Netflix. And so her family, they were actually witches, but something happened and they long forgot who they were. And now their powers are now restored through Mildred, and she's learning to become a witch, yada, yada, yada. She goes to school. The Brightest Witch, I give the nickname of Hermione, because Hermione is very resourceful. She has those leadership skills that just need to be channeled a little bit more, right? Some people, like when you think of Ron and Harry, they would not have survived without her. And, sometimes she's taken a little bit for granted because of how knowledgeable she is. So she's also someone who's always there for her friends, right? But the ones who truly, truly, truly matter, right? So she recognizes that, or at least she's starting to recognize that. So, it's because of her resourcefulness and her willingness to be educated and, take on the extra workload that she is considered the brightest witch of her time. And I thought, what better way to describe someone who is that in a way, among other things, and also have that good visual. And it was Hermione. So that's how we came up, or I came up with that. And so my why is because when I began my spiritual studies, I could not put books down. I love to read anyway, which is why, I'm a Ravenclaw, not to brag. But I couldn't put books down. I had to read more. I had to consume more. And at the time, blogs weren't really a thing. They existed, but it wasn't, what it is today. And YouTube was maybe just starting to pick up. It was, again, around, but it wasn't like it is now. People have full-fledged TV shows on YouTube. And so I was just like a hermit and studying. And, again, wanting to be there for my friends, but I had to understand who was a true friend. And I had to develop leadership skills with my gifts to tell people, I don't want to do a reading right now. I don't feel like it. I'm not in a good spot for it. No. Right. Because people see me as a resource. And when I was starting out, it was overwhelming because a lot of people just assumed that if I'm somewhere that they can just ask me questions. And it's just, no matter what profession you're in, if you're a doctor, if you're a foot doctor, you don't want to go somewhere and someone's always asking you about, hey, I got this like lump on my foot. You would just say you probably should get an x-ray or an MRI, right? You would get annoyed after a while. And you're trying to figure out, how do I, in a respectful way, because it's not that I was trying to be mean. It's just that this is not the time or space, time and place for that right now. Like I'm relaxing. Okay. How can I relay that message without being offensive? And sometimes it doesn't matter how nicely you say something, people are going to be offended. So again, all throughout these journeys, you got to be okay with someone not liking you. Okay. So I know how it feels to have all this passion, burning energy inside you, and you want to get it out and you want to direct it somewhere. And yes, I started a blog, and yes, I started a podcast, and yes, I wrote 2 books. And that's why we had the Brightest Witch. Okay. So also, there are going to be updates in the library. So you're going to see more and more how-tos, how to, do the witchy blog and things like that. So there's going to be a lot of resources in there to help the Brightest Witch along her path, or if she just want to stay in the Brightest Witch phase. So those are some of the transformations you're going to see there. Some of the benefits. That's my why. In each phase, you will see how I went through those phases. Okay. And how it has benefited me. With the newest witch, working on my confidence and boundaries has put me in such a great space. I can't even begin to explain it in words. I just feel even more whole, even more complete. And, it's really the framework for the shadow work that I really consciously started doing. When you don't do shadow work consciously, it's this horrible, scary, ugly cry. Oh my God, thank. But when you do it consciously, it is this ugly cry, horrible. But what a relief. I didn't even know that was oh my gosh. Whew. Wow. Right. It's a relief. It's a coming home moment. It's a full circle moment. And I'm at such a great place now because I focus on boundaries and confidence and my gifts and understanding where to channel my energy, that I can even, and I've done this multiple times. I've been to restaurants by myself, had a full-fledged meal. I've been to movies by myself. I hopped on a plane and traveled across country a few times. And I felt totally secure in doing that, right? I don't hang around people just to have people around me. I get so sad when I hear stories about people, especially when it's a person who wants to do good, trying to help people. They're surrounded by leeches, right? And they're crying because they don't have anyone to talk to. They don't have anyone to be vulnerable with, but they're surrounded by people. It's like, how can you be surrounded by people and still lonely? That's crazy. So I've mastered enjoying my own time. I was the only child for 8 years, and my little brother came, no problem. I named him, and it's funny because initially when I was younger, people's like, "Oh, aren't you going to be jealous?" And I would say, "I am firstborn. No one can take this throne." Okay, I am me, and he is he. Okay, but anyway, so I always been able to enjoy my own company. But when you become an adult, it's easy for the things that happen in your childhood to get severed, like your imagination, like your creativity, like your hopes and dreams, right? So I was fortunate enough to keep intact, having fun by myself. And as an adult, I became at peace with spending time with myself. Okay, so it's happiness and peace. And that's why I created Brightest Witch, because the Brightest Witch is like a walking Google, and people can easily take advantage of that. And we're going to put it into that. All right, we want to channel our energy correctly, and we're going to get the party started with these oracle cards. All right. So I mean, like, Spirit was all out. It was just like, pull this card and pull this card. I'm like, all right, Spirit, I wanted these episodes to be short. All right, here we go. What was the one? Okay, this is the card I wanted me to pull first, and everything else can line up. All right. So the first card is Dreams. And it's interesting because let me scroll up here. I believe I spoke. Oh, it must have been. Yeah, there we go. In the beginning, I described angel numbers, dream interpretation, tarot cards. This isn't your first time around the block. Start paying even more attention to your dreams. So what I did was the same thing I did in the previous episode. I just asked, what's the message that the brightest witches need to know to help them understand the Enchantress Coven and where they are at currently? All right. So the dreams, pay even more attention to your dreams. So this, I'm trying to see, it's kind of actually, I don't know if someone's laying there or not, but there's a moon in the background, and it's like a door, a portal, and a window. So this is a great time to write down your dreams. And if you're thinking, I don't dream, I don't remember my dream, everyone dreams, not everyone remembers their dreams. So tonight, go to sleep with the intention that you will remember your dreams in their entirety. Okay? Repeat. I remember all my dreams in its entirety. I remember all my dreams in its entirety. I hereby remember all my dreams in its entirety. Okay? Or in their entirety. All right? As you're going to see, repeat that, because not only will you get messages in your dreams about, where to start in the coven, you're going to get dreams about past for your life, but also this is like a dream, right? Anything's possible. Okay. So really think about, what do you want to make possible in your life, because the resources are there to help you make that happen in the coven, in the library. All right, this is also a time for new beginnings, right? This phase is the turning point too, right? Because once you step into the witch queen, and then the witch goddess, it gets a little dark. And I'm going to explain that. What I mean by dark what I mean by dark is that it's going to get even more serious, where shadow work is going to be huge. It's going to be a main factor. Right? You are going to be building your queendom, so your legacy. You are going to have even less friends. I'm being really real with you guys. I'm telling you, I even told my brother this when he first started high school. I made my fingers like a triangle, and I said, you're going to start off with this many friends. And I pointed toward the bottom, meaning like a lie. And I said, by the time you're in high school, you're going to have this many friends. At the top, it's not much room. And that's what's going to happen as you progress. You will lose friends. You will. And that's okay. Not everybody's meant to be with you your entire life. So that new beginning, there's a crescent moon, there's a sun, there's a waterfall and beautiful mountains in the distance. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. I mean, the mountain is green and luscious. It reminds me of lift every voice and sing to every heaven rings, reign with the harmonies of liberty. Let her rejoice and rise high as the glistening sky. It's like that. It's just, it's just such a great time. It's just rejoicing. Like this new beginnings is just refreshing. So that's what you're going to discover throughout this journey in the Enchantress Coven, are just new beginnings. Inspiration is the next card. There are a lot of fiery women in this card spread. I had the passion card where the woman was just red and orange and yellow. And here we have the inspiration with a woman. She's in darkness, but she's the light. She's the light. You are the light. I'm the light. You're the light. We're the light. Okay. So that's just powerful. And it's like a big beam coming from her stomach too. So again, just like with the New Witch, a great time to focus on your lower chakras. This is a time where you're going to be even more empowered. Again, it's a woman with, I can't tell if it was a moon or a sun because it's yellowish, but this is the spell casting. Well, maybe it is the moon. But anyway, again, she's empowered because you've done the work, right? You've done that new witch work and you're even more empowered now. And that's a perfect place to be. And you're doing yourself justice is the next card. There's a woman, she has long red hair. There's a moon behind her. Her arms are spread out. So you're doing yourself justice by embarking on this journey. And then you're going to come out with the last card, a life purpose. So this is going to be either a change in your life purpose or an addition to your life purpose. Okay. So again, all great cards. And this is a tree where it doesn't have roots. It just starts again. So it's like a tree on both sides. And then there's several moons in the background. So the fact that there's several full moons in the background just makes me think that, yeah, this is an addition to your life purpose, but also this is as above, so below, because the tree is the same on both sides and it's green and it's luscious and it's strong and it got this like little red golden like fire in there. So again, it's so much growth and transformation is going to happen, and it's happening on multiple levels, just as I described with the Enchantress Society. And particular for you, your higher self is even more connected to yourself in the physical as you go through this journey in the Enchantress Coven. So that's what I have for you, dear Brightest Witch. And I'm sending you so much love, so many blessings. I'm rooting for you. Take care of yourself. Be kind to yourself as always. And I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much for tuning in, Magical One. Let's keep in touch. Join the VIP email list by going to tiamariejohnson.com. And as always, I'm sending you lots of love, many blessings. I'm rooting for you. And remember to be kind to yourself. Until next time.